What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Woods. And when I say lost, I don't mean confused. I mean wandering. Stepping off the straight road they told us was the only way, and finding the trails books, music, and memory have been trying to show us. See, down here in the South, we know the back roads will take you places the highway never could. Hip hop taught me that too. A verse, a beat, a book crack open on the porch. That's where I learned to see the world sideways, to flip what they gave us into something else. That's what we're doing here, wandering through the written word, through culture, through lived experience, and getting lost on purpose, because that's the only way you discover something bigger than what you were handed. I'm Jerid P. Woods, and this is Lost in the Woods. Wherever you listening, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Under the Shade Tree with your homeboys, or watching the visual on YouTube, thank you for walking with your boy. Let's get it. You know what I'm talking about? And today we're joined by Kiese Laymon, one of the most important voices of our time. Born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, Kiese is a writer whose work holds the weight of home, history, and Black life in America with honesty and love. He is the author of Heavy, an American memoir, winner of the Andrew Carnegie Medal for Excellence, along with Long Division and How to Slowly Kill Yourself and Others in America. Beyond the Page, Kiese is a 2022 MacArthur Fellow, a teacher, cultural critic who continues to reimagine what it means to write from Mississippi, to write Blackness, and to write truth. I would also say, I think I gave this to him. I gave him his most important award, the Freak Black and Mile Award. I think back in, this is 2025. I gave him the Freak Black and Mile Award last year on a IG Live, and I think that is probably the most important one. But Key, I am glad to have you. Before I get to ask you how you're doing and all that, we got a practice here that my wife came up with. Me and her came up with it together, and it is called Giving You Your Flowers. For you, the flower is the magnolia. The magnolia is Mississippi's own. It's about being strong, being enduring, and being rooted deep in the soil and still blooming with grace, no matter the season. And that's what your work has given us. I couldn't think of a better flower. I gave my homie Lawrence Burney the marigold the other day, but you deserve the magnolia because I can't think of anything else to give you now. When the money come, I'm gonna send y'all real flowers, but I want to give y'all digital flowers now because I love y'all and I appreciate the work. You know what I'm talking about? But
Man.
how you doing, man? How you doing?
Blessed, bro. Like, I love you. I love what the work you do. I love talking with you. And you remind me, man, like, I keep a Mississippi license plate because of that magnolia flower. We got that magnolia on the new one. So yes, indeed.
Yep. That's the thing, man. Like, I don't know if you did this, but like I have noticed this, right? At least from folks in Mississippi. Like when we go to college, we do not change that tag, right? And
Nah.
so like like we do not change that tag. We'll ride, we will go. I know people that are like far away will be like, I have to go home because I got to get a new tag.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real, bro. I mean,
And I think that
haven't
is,
lived
yeah.
there for a minute. I ain't lived in Mississippi for, I pretty much live in Mississippi because I'm going back all the time. But, I moved from Oxford like 2021, keeping that Mississippi tag long as I can, bro. You got to pay for it, but, I feel like I stay needed.
For sure. Man, we were talking a little bit offline, man. I had kind of rearranged this two in my head even before we started talking, but I was thinking about like, I was like in the opening of y'all gonna hear some books falling because I always got a stack of books like Dr. Greg Carby had behind him. Like
Greg Carr don't mess around, bro.
Listen, man, so many books behind him in that room. I'd be like, why are y'all even talking? Y'all should just do the whole episode about what the hell is in those stacks. Like,
Exactly.
But there's this part in this conversations with Kiese Laymon book. It's in the opening and it comes out of an interview in which you said essentially, I'm gonna get to it, y'all. We got time. What you are trying to do with your writing. Whereas here it is. I want my writing to help create a community of writers and workers committed to honesty and brilliance. I want my work to help people work on becoming better at loving themselves, their partners, their communities, their people. I want my writing to help me make a lot of money so I continue to help out a lot of poor as fuck folk who inspire me. I want to create some of the best paragraphs, chapters, sentences, and books in the history of the world. And then I want to go to sleep, right? I heard like service. right? And there are two things that it made me like wonder, what do you want your writing to like give you, right? But then also, do you ever get like nervous before these things? Like before, like you was talking about getting on the stage with 7,000, might be. Do you be nervous? Cause like when I be telling people I be nervous, they be telling me I'm lying, and I be like,
Yeah.
no, I am. They be like, well, we can't tell, and I'd be like, well, I guess
Yeah.
I'm good at lying. I'm trying to get better at like the truth,
Right.
but like you know what I'm saying. But like, what do you want your writing? What does your writing give you, if anything?
Right.
And do you get nervous before this?
That's amazing that you get nervous, because you definitely don't seem nervous. I mean, so from the beginning, I always thought like you one of them people for whom the camera is just a magnet.
You know where it come from? I don't know if I ever told you this.
Teacher?
No, I wanted to be a rapper. Right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I wanted to be a rapper.
Yes.
Hey, Tweezy was the DJ at 94.1 in it's Baton Rouge, but Natchez so close to Baton Rouge, we use a radio station. And then he came to 104.7, I think was our radio station. So he was in Natchez. And he was my auntie's friend. This is when he's with let me see you wobble wobble. Shake it, shake it. He down there with P and them. And my mom was like, yo, my son raps. Right? And he was like, word, come on out, have him rap for me. And I froze.
Bro.
I did not rap one word for him. And
I
went back in the room. I said, you'll never be anything if you freeze like that again.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like 14, but this is one of the moments I'm like,
Yeah.
you will never be anything if God gives you another moment like that, you'll never be anything if you don't rise to the occasion.
Fam.
And so like, you know, I was telling my wife that today, like I finally let that go.
Yeah.
Because I usually prepare up until the last second because of it, right?
Right.
And so she's like, we got to get you home today. I was like, baby, I'm good. I got more questions than he could answer, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But that's where that comes from.
Yeah, fam. Like I feel that deeply, because see, this is how I feel always talking to you, man. Like I could actually talk about that for the next hour, because I don't get shook like when I approaching the page, or you can put me in front of a million people. If I have to do something with the work I've created, I don't feel any sort of anxiety. I don't feel shook. Now, I'm a teacher. Every motherfucking class, you put me in front of 10 motherfuckers, 20 nigga, I am a puddle, dog. I've been doing this for 26 years. It don't matter.
Crazy.
It does not matter for him. Like, I feel every eyeball. I'm super like worried that I'm not, getting through to every student in a way. I'm worried that I'm not listening to every student equally. So I know anxiety, right, in that way. And it was interesting you brought up rapping, fam. Like, I always, my boy was telling me the other day, he was like, man, you one of the illest rapping, non-rapping niggas I know. And when he said that, he was like, I can imitate any MC, any flow ever. That's what I was always known as. I could write a little bit, but like, I grew with motherfuckers who was spitting. And like, I never could like use the rhyme to explore my life the way they could. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need the rhyme, and they would argue that something that they didn't need, like, the margins, right? Like the way we do. Oh, but I love that question, man, because I've been thinking about basketball a lot. And bro, if I approached basketball just mentally the way I approach art making, I would have. I mean, this is some Mississippi shit, but I played D3 ball. I know I could have played like low D1, because I was shook, my nigga. Like on that basketball court, when motherfuckers looking at your body and your girl up there, or the person you want to be your girl up there, or your mama up there, or your mama friend up there, or your boy up there. And man, bro, I put so many hours into basketball. And everybody would tell you, this nigga Kiese is cold. Like, nigga, get me in the game, I'm but I was scared to miss. I'm scared to miss. I can shoot that rock, but like, I just didn't. I was so scared to miss. So anyway, I love that question to jump it off, fam. So like, I get intimidated talking to you because you read and you gonna bring the shit. But I for better or worse, I don't get too shook like around things dealing with my work ever. I don't know why. Yeah.
Word. What do you do? Or what do you feel, right? When you get there and it's obvious they haven't read, and it's obvious that I don't know how it works because I've seen it a lot. it's obvious that
Yeah.
there's like a handler or something. Or for instance, when I
Yep.
never send anybody, my questions, because one of the things that I think that I try to like make it very obvious is I'm not here to harm you. I'm not here
Absolutely.
here good. Yeah, it means that I'm not here to like harm you, right? I would never ask you something that by virtue of the work you're not prepared to like answer.
Right.
But like the handler didn't do their job good enough. So now the person is there and they didn't have the wherewithal or care to even read. And now they're like, or like when we in that little weird, people don't talk about it, but like right before you get on the stage at like a book festival, you got like these weird, like 5 or 10 minutes with whoever's going to talk to you. And they're trying to cram all the shit in. They're like, yo, so where you from? Where'd you say you from?
Yes.
It said you from Jackson, but like it say Forrest. Like, can you explain? Like help me,
Right.
help you sell this book. Cause
Yeah.
like, how do you feel like when you run into that?
Man, that's a brilliant question. You know, when I first started this stuff, I thought, okay, this is not a great question, but still, I need to meet it with a great answer. So,
Yeah.
you know, somebody asks a fucked up, stupid question, and I'll act as if I'll try to answer that specifically. But, you know, my thought is often the people come for more than that. So I would, you know, you start doing the work, and man, you start doing this shit, and you get into enough motherfuckers with people who don't read. And, you know, you kind of start canning them answers, bro. Like I started to kind of, you know, you know what? Well, listen, I went to Oberlin in 1998, my first year there. Cornell West comes and he gives a talk on race matters. I transferred from Jackson State and I seen Cornell do a race matters talk somewhere else. And I'm young. I don't have any idea about like the commerce, the work involved. I was like, wait a minute, this the same motherfucking speech I saw this nigga give. And then I left there feeling like, I can't believe, you know, because that rap shit. I was like, I can't believe he didn't do a new speech. You know, man, you get on the road for 3 or 4 years and you like, no, y'all motherfuckers getting the same old same. If the preparation is not up to par, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm with you. Like I want to meet, I want to go places I never gone before in a conversation. But if motherfuckers like on that, like, so Jackson was growing up in Jackson was hard, huh? I'm like, oh, okay. We doing that shit now? Okay.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. Sick.
Right.
Words. And another thing that I think is like super dope, right? That we were also talking about that I think we need to like dive in and it's also in conversations with Key. Well, first of all, have you done other work with Constance?
We've done I mean, not on the page. You know,
Okay.
I've gone to Arkansas and we've built together there. This was when we built in Arkansas, we talked about building this, ironically, like the conversation. I haven't even read it yet, fam. I haven't got it yet. I haven't got it yet.
Man, well, it's good. They picked some good. But I
Yeah.
didn't know. I've seen her name a lot, and I didn't know she was from Natchez. So like when I was reading those first few pages, this shit was so funny to me because it was like when she was like kudzu cover, and I was like, oh, that's cute, like kudzu cover. She should come where I'm from so she could see what kudzu cover looks like.
I thought y'all knew each other.
I have never. I didn't even know she existed. I was telling my mama I said if that school district had done a good enough job of knowing who, if she came through it, right? Because sometimes people go to different schools, and I might get into that too. But if she came through the public school system in Natchez, then that means that school system didn't do a good enough job because she's old enough over me to where she could have been brought in to speak to me.
100%, fam.
To which she could have shared her journey into being a scholar that would have saved me like 6 years.
Bruh, listen.
Because I would have known first it was possible, then it was possible for people from where I'm from. I DM'd her yesterday. She from my hood. Right? Like, and so that could have been transformative, but it makes sense because they ain't invited me there yet. Right?
I'm getting chills thinking about that. Because when I met her, like, you know, first of all, I just be happy you go somewhere and people don't be like Natchez. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of black writers who I love and adore who are not from Natchez who write about that shit. And you hear them talking, they be like, as my elders in Natchez said. I'm like, but anyway, when we met, you know, of course I thought about you because I actually met you first. But the fact that y'all grew up in the same hood, man, and y'all love books and creating from books, and like the systems that be did not connect you, says everything. I mean, literally everything. Because if y'all could ball, because if you could ball and she could ball, nigga, y'all be on tour right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
If we both was rappers,
oh my God. People be
word
like,
of mouth
third
would say
mixtape. Right.
it's no different from how I know that like Big Crit, like Big Crit's like trajectory has like vice lords in it, has college people in it, like because it took community to propel them.
Absolutely.
So if our community had done the work of recognizing that, because what we do, or at least it has been my experience, is we isolate and insulate our brightest minds, right?
Woo!
And so what I think occurred is the same thing that occurred to me, right? When it came time to go hit the lick, my homeboys be like, you have to stay because you'll be reading books and shit. You can read. Like, you got to stay, right? Yep. And so I don't understand why there is no push towards that, because like, dog, everybody in Natchez knows what I do. People in Natchez have invited me, but I'm a graduate of Natchez High School. Why have I not been there yet? I've been doing this since 2018.
Fam.
My whole thing is literally I read well because I was taught to read well.
Exactly.
In this district. You know what I'm saying?
And so, you know what? People will be like, do you think it's intentional? And before we even talk about that shit, I often like, I hope it is intentional. Because if it's not intentional, it's ignorance. We live in this culture where ignorance is supposed to be a pass. Bruh, this is how you know it's not a pass. I graduated from St. Joseph High School, right? By the time I graduate St. Joe, it's majority black. It's in West Jackson. It's next to Presidential Hills. There's talk that it's going to move out to Rankin, Madison County, which is like, you know, whiter space.
Mm-hmm.
A year, 2 or 3 later, that shit moves out to Madison. It's still St. Joe High School. I've been to talk at every school you can imagine in Jackson, fam. I've been to talk at St. Andrews, which is a much, you know, seen as like a much more progressive school in Madison. St. Joseph High School, the school I write about, the school I give credit for, like, you know, starting that sort of like writerly creative shit. These niggas never asked me to come back, bruh, to give a talk. Never. I'm talking all around St. Joe. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's intentional. It's intentional. That's why we got to do this stuff. That's one of the reasons I love you. That's one of the reasons we got to do this kind of work.
Exactly, man. So like that is just wild and weird to me. But I want you to talk a little bit about one of the things that they do have in this book, Key, that I think is just super dope, is they have you break you're somebody is asking you a question and you're breaking down the ways that Maxwell, Helana King, 1980s hip hop, and soul have all influenced your relationship with your characters. And I don't know that I've ever seen somebody, first of all, even ask you about it in that way, but I don't know that I have had the privilege of enjoying you talk about the intersectionalities of the ways in which rap music, soul music, gospel music create bays, Titoyan, you know what I mean? Like how 100%. That infuses them and injects them. Can you talk a little bit about what the way that you see the intersectionalities of hip hop and literature?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a way to talk about it, I think, like sort of separate from like my experience, and I can do that, but I'll just say like the intersection of it to me was like my Auntie Sue within my grandmama's house, right? My Auntie Sue, you go to Jackson, people know my Auntie Sue as a preacher, but they also know her as a DJ and a singer. She was by far, bro, like if not the best singer in Mississippi, one of the best, which means a lot because she sang gospel. You know, motherfucker, you know, where we from, bro, like the singers. She was one of them singers. And I just remember early, man, just, I don't know if we've never talked about like religion specifically, but like when you in them churches, man, and them sisters usually who can sing, and that shit feels so sincere, and they're so good at the talent, it just moves your body, your mind, your heart, your consciousness to a different place and space. And for me, that was always what gospel music was at its core. And I could often feel soul in that. Like people who don't see soul and gospel are weird to me. Like that shit is so intertwined. But like, you know, you grow up and like we really love the sentence. Like that's the thing about black people. Like niggas love sentences. Whether or not we love writing sentences is a different thing, but we love the power of sentences. And so I loved the impact of sincere, innovative gospel and soul, but I didn't find like a space for the sentence. And my whole shit was like, I think the sentence can do some of what y'all doing. And so, if I make a long story shorter, it was like when I started my art practice, I was trying to make the sentence do a little bit of what I saw my auntie do with gospel and soul, and then what I saw MCs do with the actual sentence, not just with the rhyme, but with the sentence. Because even now, when I think of a rhyme, like I still see it in sentence form. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I break the paragraph there,
Yeah.
I put a comma there, even though like these dudes are thinking and writing in verse or writing in line, and it's a completely different scenario. So for me, that shit is all the same in my body. Like I want to like create sentences that are sincere, that are fucking like so rich, like innovative, that they can move people to a different space. It's different, right? Songs, you got like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Books,
Yes.
motherfucker, you got hours, days, years.
Oh,
So, but that
that's
was it, man. Just growing up in Forest, and growing up in my grandmama house in Forest. And that at the time was the only house our family had, right? My mama, we lived in apartments. Sue lived in apartments. My aunt Linda lived out in Vegas. She lived in an apartment. So that little shotgun pink house, that was the receptacle for soul, for blues. And, I could sneak and listen to hip hop out on the porch, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah, and there's something else that you're getting at, Kid. I think is super, super dope with bringing up your auntie Sue and being the best singer in the state, and being that this is gospel and the spirit that you and
Yeah.
I know is behind that in here. And I want to read something that I think is super important to what you're saying about your auntie Sue from
Uh-huh.
Lawrence's book. He said, to strive for mastery without any proof of material benefit is how you express your love for a people, for a
Mm,
city, for a neighborhood, for a block. If
mm,
I've been able to do even a crumb of that while accepting the role of a documentarian interested in truth, then I'm one step closer to where I want to be. I think like we can take documentarian out and put gospel singer, put
yes.
traffic director,
Yep.
put teacher, put right. And so I think one of the things that I think is important that gets lost like in nuance sometimes is like your auntie Sue like is for it in terms of the macro scale, like unknown.
Right.
Probably did that for 40 or 50 years.
Absolutely.
No hope of material benefit. There are
Right.
tons of people in Mississippi who sing better than Beyonce
Yeah.
and have none of the money.
No.
The mic probably wasn't even working when
Right.
they were singing on it and had to set it
That's
down
right.
on the thing in the church, right? And sing with the voice and project with no
Absolutely.
promise of material
Right.
benefit on the back end. On
Yeah.
so much so that it births a writer like you, or that it,
Right.
births someone who does this work of sharing books. And so I think, sometimes we don't pay attention to those folks. And
I
so
do.
when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
say you want to make a lot of money to take care of some poor as fuck folk who inspired you,
I'm
that's who
talking
you're
about my
talking
auntie.
about.
I'm
You know what I'm
talking.
talking about? Like that?
I do know what I did that shit about. I mean, that's so funny. Yeah, man. I'm talking about. I mean, that's my yeah. Family. And it was a little tight there. Some people in my family lost some jobs and shit, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, here we go. Let's go.
Well, that I think, Key, that comes from another cool thing that I was just talking to my mom about, man, is like birthright. She was talking about like I talked to my we do this. I think I'm thinking about writing about this, like as a Mississippi thing. We just talk about our grandmamas.
Yeah.
Like, and so like people see me say mama and they think I'm talking about like my mom. I'm really talking about my great
Right.
grandmama who raised me, right?
Yeah.
We call her Mama
Yeah.
Maddie. And so mama is gone and my mom is like, well, family doesn't get together and et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, well, mom, that's your duty. It is your birthright. You are her oldest daughter. I said the other day I was telling somebody I would give anything to hear my grandmother pray again. I said, but you know the words to the prayers that she sung. I said, you know the words to those prayers.
Ooh.
I said, so you do your family a disservice when you don't share those prayers, mama, because this is on you now, because mama is gone.
That's
I said,
real,
this
bro.
is birthright, right? And I think because like those types of concepts have been so lost and left
Yeah.
behind for us that we don't talk to ourselves about duty and birthright. And
Yeah.
we don't like understand a lot of times when we are under the weight of duty and birthright. And
Man.
so because no one has taught us about the weight of duty and birthright, we dissolve. And so I think we got to do this work of like, we got to do this work of like I was telling her, I was like, man, mama, we got to realign, right?
Yeah.
Because what you are actually also saying is in sitting with our cousin, you were recharged,
Right.
right? I said, so you have to seek that out even though it looks big on the back end, you are recharged. And like what Dr. Black teaches us, one of the things that we used to do down here is we didn't move to spirit left.
Right.
Church
Right.
could take all day long.
Yep.
Like, sitting, going to visit my cousin. I might go to that porch and freak one black and stay until the nighttime greets us.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I think about that when you say that, and that's why I was like, I got to make a part. I've been thinking about a lot of the stuff that I be seeing that I don't think that we like really like sit our ass down for a little bit and just kind of listen to,
And you know what, bro? When you say that birthright, I mean, I'm just gonna say something. We won't have to talk about it long, but because I write so much about my grandmama, and my grandmama has, has pulled me through. Like that's why I'm alive, and that's why I'm a writer who didn't give up. But bro, I'm gonna tell you, man, the saddest thing in the world, to me, is that my grandmama gave, her children. And by when I say her children, I'm counting me and I'm counting people who not in her bloodline. I'm talking a lot of people in far. She gave her children that birthright, like that duty, that responsibility to family. And do you know, my granny been dead for a year, and my family, bro, like they don't even talk.
That's
They
what I'm
don't even
telling you.
talk. When I'm talking about my family. I'm talking about my family, like they don't, we don't even, and I'm the grandchild, right? So I'm up here trying to do, because sisters, I also will say my grandmama was their mother before she was my grandmama. So they have different relationships, and they have different relationships with each other that like I don't know. But what I do believe is there's nothing in this world that woman would hate more than to think that she died and her people stop fucking communicating. When you stop communicating, you stop going to church, you stop eating together, you stop loving, you stop tearing. We ain't done none of that shit. So I'm trying to create out of that space right now, bro. But I will tell you, I did not see that space coming, my nigga. Like, I did not think my family was gonna like.
Listen,
I saw it. I started near the end. I was like, oh wow, when she gone, we gone. And that's what happened.
And that's literally what I was telling my mama. She was like, I haven't been over there to sit by Ebony. I said, that's because Mama Matt is gone. I said, the only time that we get around is for the next funeral. I said, but it's your birthright.
Right.
I said, everyone should be at your house, Mom. It's you.
Right.
I said, sometimes it's the oldest daughter, sometimes it's the youngest. I said, sometimes it's the youngest because the youngest is set at the foot of all the rest of the daughters.
Right.
I said, but for right now, it's you. She said, and then my cousin Ebony probably, she said, and Ebony was like, I don't know why I had to move back to Natchez. She'd been in Memphis for like 20 years. I said, Mom, that's because God could send no one else.
That's right.
I said, he could send no one else. I said, you know how to ignore Maddie? You've been doing that forever. You know how to ignore so-and-so. You can't ignore her. Yes. God couldn't send nobody else. And so like, man, I started it off. I said, Mom, it's very rare that people weep when the great grandfather or the grandfather goes. I said, that's because it is a very African thing to know that it is the grandmother who shakes the foundation to its leaves. I said, when I said, I don't know a lot about all the African spiritual systems, but a lot of times when they ask the answers to come, they say mothers of this child. They don't say fathers come into this space. Right. So I was like, Mom, I said, I'm going to do what I can. Right. I said, but because I was also talking to her about this concept of like men being in service of their communities and realizing that in service there is mission. Right. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if that's right. I said, I ain't sure if that's right, Mama, but I am sure that it is your birthright to like do these things. Right. And I said, and I think that's just a really deep thing. And I think in terms of just this whole exercise of being lost in the woods, one of the things that I'm interested in is how has the Bible affected you as a writer? I've read you talk to Christians and about Christians. I've heard you reference your grandmother as the most radical Black Christian you've known. And you've said that with her, left all of your home training, which definitely makes perfect sense to me. And I think about my own relationship with Christianity. And I always tell folks that I've walked very far away from the Bible in my life and back to it and do ritual work for my spirit as best I can. But when shit hits the fan, I still cry out and I pray. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering a bit about how the Bible pushes and pulls you, because I know the work that Black radical grandmothers do on us.
Man, I mean, that was, my grandmama had, she had Ebony, she had Jet. She didn't have Essence back then. and then she had the Bible, and she had like our picture book albums and our photo albums, and then she had a big old green Bible that was right there in the right there. And we come in the room, and so as a young person, that was the only book it was the only book I ever saw my granny read. But she knew her Bible, you know what I'm saying? She read that shit back and forth, and then she would go get those little like small little books that can like help you read the Bible better, like Oral Roberts type books, the little
Yes. Them little Gideon joints too. Them
yeah,
little.
right. And my granny, man, she would give me Bibles for Christmas with my name on them, embroidered in the leather, but my name was always spelled wrong. Oh man, you making me remember some shit now. And so because she read her Bible, I read my Bible. And I mean, I can talk about the middle parts of that, but I'll tell anybody, like, the Bible to me is I mean, you can say what you want about it, but as a book, it's unrivaled as a book. You know what I'm saying? As a book, like, it's the most influential book I think ever, for better or worse. I think it's the most ambitious book. Like, if you're gonna create a book with like all these motherfuckers' voices talking, and like, what I love about the Bible is at different times the point of view changes, but also the person to whom the person is speaking changes. I think if you were in the sci-fi, you got some shit. I think if you were in the suspense, you got some shit. I think if you were in the romance, you got some shit up in there. But man, because I'm kind of I was born a little bent. I mean, and of course, there are lots of things in that Bible that like are fucked up because it's a book, right? Because it's a book. So and when I say fucked up, I'm saying there are a lot of characters doing a lot of things. There are a lot of authorial things that are done that I think are abusive and terrible because it's a book. But as a young writer, as now an old writer, man, my whole life, bro, and people can take this any way they want it, man. I've been trying to write something dope as the Bible. And I didn't try to write it with one book. I ain't think long division. I ain't think heavy. But like, by the end of this shit, like, my duty to my art form and my community is to create something that can move people the way this Bible has moved people. Do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of books move people, and the Bible can't move them people. So I always wanted to create like a, like a history. Like, I wanted to create like 6, 7, 8 books that read together, people could find themselves, find a way, find holes in it, find how fucked up it is, but find usefulness for it. So it's the most useful, ambitious book of my life. I'm writing right now this book, Good God, is very much about the Bible. So I just wanted to, I wanted to write something. I want to write something. I mean, no, I want to say that, but yeah, I just wanted to write, bro. It influenced me.
Yeah, because I wonder, I was thinking about it.
You still read your Bible? You still read your Bible?
Mom, I was telling my mom, because, I famously read the whole thing, and I was telling her that I read the whole thing because I started doing it when I was younger, because I'd be so bored in church, and I'd be like, well, you go right in the thing, it's right there. I said, sometimes I read that. I said, sometimes I go there and it's not the Bible, and I get mad, and I have to read the hymn book.
Yes, bro. Yes.
And I was telling her about something else that I was going through, and I was like, I have been reading. I said, I've read Ecclesiastes so much I got tired, and I went back and read Ephesians.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I do it sometimes. Like, if I don't get engaged enough, I'll be like, okay, all right, well, let me read the Bible. What made me think about it, I was like, man, even atheists have a Bible epigraph sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like you said, it's one of the most influential books ever, right? And a lot of times, a lot of writers, I think, there's some writers that you read who every book came out of a Bible verse.
Right. Yep.
Right. And, and again, they might not be a Christian. Right.
Right.
And so I was just wondering what it did to you and how it affects the writing.
Yeah.
Because I think it does. It's like there are some people in Mississippi who probably don't go to church at all, but they won't let you spit on the Bible.
No, absolutely.
Or they won't let their Bible hit the floor. Or they won't they have like this certain reverence for it that is like huge.
Right.
Like, if we treat our communities like,
I mean, if these motherfuckers who treat the Bible that way treated themselves that way, like that's the problem I have with the Bible. Like even these like 10 commandments and shit, you know how in Texas you got to put them all up on the board. And I understand all the people being like, we don't need that. Yes, we don't need that because of the way that's going to be taught. But what if those 10 commandments are up there and every motherfucking Monday, the entire class, including the teacher, has to talk about the ways they fail to fucking like live and embody the 10 commandments? Because what's wild to me is that motherfuckers say, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. But beyond you get to all the shit about greed, about stealing, you know what I'm saying? About all of, false gods, 10 commandments. Right. I'm writing about this shit now. I don't agree with them at all, but I do think that they should be there not to fucking look up at, but the same way you do with a book. Your books, motherfucker, your books are notoriously toe up. We supposed to tear up the 10 commandments. I'm a fan of the motherfuckers being on the wall if you had responsible, loving, adequately paid teachers who could fucking do some shit with that, And
I want to interject. You literally said in this book that you want people to do the same thing to your work. You said you want to produce work that some better writer later on tears your stuff up and says, this is how I like it. It was nice, but we could do this. Like,
I mean,
and so
100%.
Yeah, man. It's man, the stuff they do to the kids in the classroom is insane, man.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And I know them 10 commandments are making spaces unsafe, more unsafe. More fucked up. Like limiting the possibility of kids actually developing a meaningful relationship with what they call God, actually. But it doesn't have to be that way. Like my point is like, it's the same shit about the book ban is like you give me a horrible book and I can teach it. I give you Pimp. You could go into a 5th grade classroom and teach that shit incredibly. I give you a motherfucking manual on how to make Volvos, my nigga. Like but again, if you aren't compensated the way you need to be compensated to do that kind of work, and it's work, why would it be done? So,
Yes, Lord, son. Man, we're gonna lighten up a little bit, man, because this is a funny thing thinking about. When you were talking to Maurice, who I think is like otherworldly in presence.
He is otherworldly.
And like so New Orleans in a way that's always like new and fresh for me. Like not like it's not like, Lil Wayne New Orleans. It's like vibrant, like bright. Like this man has a soundtrack to his author. Like when he does an author chat, he plays like music in the background, right? But y'all were talking about you liking that your work is polyphonic sometimes, and like that you can that Ben and Ben are like the same thing. And I was like on some nerd stuff, and I was like, but what about like words that like, like man. So, like, what do you have like a relationship with like those type of words too? Because I like one time I was like I was going to purchase something, and the guy was like, look at this, man. And me and my little brother looking at the bag. He's like, yeah, you see that? You hardly can't even much tell there's no seeds in this. And I was like, what? You hardly can't even much what? Because I know what you just said, right? And I've seen it deployed on others. But what you are telling me right now is that you acknowledge the fact that the seeds are there. However, you structured this bag so that I can barely see them. Right. And because of that work, I should make this purchase.
That's too funny, bro. That's too good.
I don't know where the question's going, but like, do you have a relationship with like stuff like that? Like,
but the dope thing about that question is like, and no matter what I make, fam, like, I'm not gonna front. Like, I'm intimidated by that page, and when I start drafting, it takes me like a draft or two to remember how I talk to myself and how I prefer, you know what I mean? Like, because still, like, the act of getting the shit on the page is still different from the way I talk. So, my grandmama and them, like, that's like I just said, my grandmama and them, when I say them, I'm saying everybody. But my grandmama and them, they always say, like, there's so many different uses for child. Child, oh my God. Like, oh my God. No, they didn't. Like, child. My grandma used to be like, say what now? Now, sometimes say what now? She say it the right way, nigga. She finna start shooting. Say what?
Yes.
Say what now? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just so even in this new book, I'm trying to you are limited sometimes because I don't know how to.
Yep.
I want Say What Now to do exactly what it does. I hear it. So Say What Now? Like, and I can't do that on the page, right? Like, because if you see it, it says Say What
Yeah.
Now, and even the way that looks, Say
Mm-hmm.
What Now, it should sound like one word when my Say What Now? Say What Now? You know, and that mean everybody better get the fuck out the way. Say What Now mean gone somewhere, right? Gone somewhere mean it's
Yep.
finna get the you know what I mean? I mean something
It's
like, you know what I mean? So I'm saying you can
mm-hmm.
always right. And so like, but for me, it's just the
Mm-hmm.
sound, fam. It's just, but I will say, because you started this in our initial conversation, I don't trust myself to write like phonetically. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times I distrust readers to do it because I don't know how to do it well. Do you know what I'm saying? And I distrust that they
Yeah.
haven't done it enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I was talking
So,
to again. Me and Lawrence was talking too about this beautiful space we find ourselves in, where we have children who we share our music with, right? Because like when I
right,
was coming, my dad didn't listen to rap. He listened to Frankie Beverly and Maze.
right.
So like when he heard rap, he was like,
Yes.
"Man, cut it off," right? But like when if I hear my
Yep.
son play some rap, I come in and I say, "Boy, what you know about that?" Boy, me and Kendrick Lamar, right? And so like we have this handing down. Like I've been introducing him to Outkast, and the other day I was introducing him to Do or Die, and I was just thinking about how a lot of things, sometimes we talk about these concepts as if they're like foregone, right? So like Black folks always talk about the oral tradition like it's
Yeah.
over, like it's done, like it had a run and it's over. But that's an oral thing. This transfer of say what now
Yeah.
is orally it's a transmission of culture, right? Or like I've been thinking about this concept of like Dr. Black says like spiritual toolkit. I think
Yeah.
those are like the oral tradition is a very important part of our cultural toolkit, and we are still engaged in it. We
Right.
just don't think of it that way.
That's right.
Right. So like I was telling him,
That's right.
Chance just dropped this new joint
Yep.
and it had Ride on it and he has Do or Die on it. And I introduced him to Do or Die 3 days ago. And we were listening to Ride. And I said, do you understand that he's paying homage both to them in song and presence?
Yes.
I said, they're on the song, and the song is about something that they gave him.
Man.
Right? Like he can't beat.
Man, Mississippi love that Do or Die though. Mississippi
Listen,
love Do or Die. Love.
because that's just them our folks, them just our folks, they just went on up there, right?
Yep.
And so
Yep.
he was like, yeah, you're right, right? But there was no need to like, I don't know if I could put it on the page, right? Because I don't know if
Gotcha.
it'll, like you said, I don't know if it'll transmit properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I
sure.
mean, the thing about that also is that like, I'm trying to think. Like when I was a younger writer, man, like I would try so hard to make the page bend to like the idiosyncratic ways we move and shit. And I still do kind of sort of, but now I'm just trying to think of like if I can make the chapter make the chapter make people feel what often feel in like a second of like being in somewhere, you know. But I
Yeah.
know as a young writer, I used to be like, okay, if I can just get the perfect line of dialogue, and I'm just like, man, it's just two different mediums, man. It's just,
Yep.
but we
Yep.
gotta honor that shit. We gotta honor that shit big time.
Yeah, man. This is another hilarious in the thread of the being lost in the woods. I've been telling my mom, like I've been like, I finally got it, mom. I know how to explain like what it means to be from Natchez. I was like, we're
Mm.
pirates. I
Ooh,
was like, we are like pirate folk. When you say someone is a river folk, we're pirates. I was like,
right.
when you come to Natchez, it's unlike any other place in Mississippi because we're drinking all day long because we're
Yeah,
right there by Louisiana. I was like, so I said I can remember when each of us got old enough to go across the bridge and go to the daiquiri shop
that's
because it's
correct.
like a rite of passage where we are, right?
Yeah,
And I said, so there are things that I know that every Natchez man has. He has his rum, he has his gun, and he has his Bowie knife. I said, so essentially we are like
right.
pirates, right? Like you have Under the Hill where like they could stab somebody and open up the bottom of the floor and they'll go into the Mississippi River. I was like, and
Yeah,
like playing with that when you're playing with like these people who are like really, really deeply feeling folk, right? And not
right.
necessarily folk who are thinking of all of these other things. How can I put them on the page, right? I've been trying, like, how can I get it? But like you said, it's just two different mediums. So, but
Yeah.
she wrote, it's a book about Chicago, but she said, is that it? That might be it. But she said, I told her I was worried that I would do like Natchez a disservice. And so I had named it Moiety, Mississippi, which is like the Indians who lived in Natchez used to call it Moiety, which meant like two faces or something.
Wow.
Um, and she was like, well, I'll give you this. She said, when I was writing about Chicago, I was worried about the same thing. And she said, in your specificity is your universality. She said, so when
Absolutely.
you get specific, she said, when you get specific, whoever has those same specificities will see the universality in what you're saying about the city.
100%.
And that way you can't get it wrong. She said,
Absolutely.
because you can never know every street perfectly, et cetera, et cetera. But if you know your streets right,
Right.
then the people who know your streets right too will work. So I think that's a dope thing too.
And it's so interesting to me, fam. Natchez to me, like I think about growing up in Jackson, and Natchez was different than like, obviously different than New Orleans, way different than the coast. But you know, we considered Natchez like South Mississippi, but like it was the only South Mississippi we really fucked with. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and now I know was, you know, our people over in Gulfport, but I remember a lot of us, we didn't even know niggas was in Gulfport until Mahmoud Abdul. We know we didn't, because I mean that's what's up. But Natchez, fam, Natchez looms heavy in our state. I mean, and you see when you're in this literary world, so many people write about it who don't even know how to pronounce the name of it. But yeah,
don't even know how to say it. So many people write about it who can't even say it.
Can't even say it, which says everything. And then, you know, like to me, man, I'm teaching this Drake, Kendrick Lamar versus Drake course right now, right? And for like past 10 years, I keep telling my people, no matter what you think about Drake, to me, he is the biggest miracle I have ever seen in hip hop. And that is giving him credit. Meaning, if you watch season 3 of Degrassi or fucking watch that whole Next Generation, if I would have told you, pick one of these characters, they're going to be the best selling male solo artist, not hip hop artist. Motherfucker, you would have picked one of them other weird ass white boys. Somebody might have been like, you know, bruh, no way this dude's supposed to have that many hits. Similarly, when you think about this nation and you think about what the fuck this nation has done and been, there is no way Richard Wright is supposed to do 100th of what Richard Wright did. And that is not trying to be like Mississippi was less than. It's that these motherfucking white motherfuckers had feet, arms, guns, everything on our necks, my nigga. And you talk about polyphonic. People can reduce Wright if they want to Native Son, which is brilliant, to Black Boy, which is brilliant. My nigga, you got to go to The Outsider. You got to go to Uncle Tom's Children. You got to go to fucking the Bang Dung Conference. This dude was born in 1909 in Mississippi, nigga, in Natchez.
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 That's what I was trying to explain to my mama the other day. So my mama was like, because I was telling her, I think it was when we were on the thing, and I was like, why are we even worried about like white writers talking about like Martin Luther King? And somebody was like, dang, you big, separate but equal, right? And I was like, I've been talking to mama about it, right? And she was like, it's just like Cedarhurst Project. So like I was born in Cedarhurst Projects, and she was like, there are no white people. I said, no, mom, this is what you're not getting. What I'm trying to explain to them is that whole street.
Yes,
there are no white people. I said from, and then when you get to the CBS all the way back to where we're from, there are no white people. And she said, you're right. She said, it's like we're segregated and nobody's complaining. I said, Mom, I've been talking about this for weeks. I said, that is the most succinct sentence about what the Natchez experience is. Because I'll try to tell people, I'll be like, man, I didn't even know where they lived. If I had to name the neighborhoods in my city, every one of them is Black. I'll be like, LaGrange, Broadmoor, River Oaks, O-Dub, right? Those are the only neighborhoods I know that exist in our city, right?
Yeah.
So much so to when I got older, I was like, I have to find them. I know they're here. I know they're here. Where do they live? Right. And they have their own little section where they have their own groceries, and like they have a whole bunch of stuff where they can be over there and we can be over here, and we only have to see each other at Walmart. Right. And so I was like, and so like when you think about, like you said, somebody like Richard Wright, who at that time, and you're talking about what, 1909, there is no other choice but to leave. There is no other choice, because them folks was wilding. I was
But
like,
even that ain't safe. Even leaving ain't safe. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker, you still got to get from there to there to there to there to there. You know?
Cuz got his feet whooped at home. He went up north, got his feet whooped up there. He got his feet whooped till he left.
Exactly.
I think about like that a lot. Like I think about that with Stokely. Stokely got his feet whooped till he became Kwame, and then whooped. But the only thing we're supposed to do is look at their shortcomings, as opposed to the way that we whooped them.
Right.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like
if
you whoop a man long enough, he becomes an animal. Like,
yeah.
That's how you get Dr. Malachi York. That's how you get all these people who like it started good and it just went
right.
Eldridge Cleaver. It makes sense, right? Like let's talk about the entire thing if we go, because we can't look at the last part. And it's like what I said on Threads the other day. I was like, for all this talk of abolition, for all this talk of you being repaired, please don't let them rock you to sleep. Because when it's time to eat you, they gonna eat you too.
Ooh, they gonna 100 and lick their lips, nigga. Yes,
so,
indeed.
Let's just try to be the best we can and be the most righteous we can, because we all got shadows, you know what I mean? I just be like, man, you know, and so yeah, that was my last hard question. I think we got sufficiently lost in the woods here. So
man, I love that Lost in the Woods. Can I just say, man, you found one with that. That's because like I'm a corny nigga, but like that is what we do. Like that to me is like, you know, I'm working on this book now, and I'm in that stage now where I had to throw it away, come back to it, throw that, and now I'm just like, I'm so happily lost because I know I have created a forest that is like, you know, with some labyrinths and it's sturdy and shit. I just gotta kind of, you know, make the path for a motherfucker to see some shit in it, but lost. And the reader experience to me is it. When it's hidden, that's it. That's it.
That's it, man. That's it, man. That's what I kind of, you know, when we first started this, me and you were talking about like what the woods mean in general, like to people from the South. And you know, well, I never had any concept, and that's why I try to make it like, I'm not talking about lost, because you can always come out of them, right? What I'm saying is like, those were my woods. And when I went in them, I knew them. I knew the pathway. Like, you know, the Natchez Indian, the Natchez Trace, and what the indigenous folk that are indigenous to Natchez did, like, it's pathways throughout all of the woods there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you know, that's what it's about, man. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it, good brother. That's what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to create a space where folks didn't feel like they can only talk about their book. You know, like, we gonna talk whatever. If we accidentally start talking about toenails, man, we gonna get into that toe jam. We gonna
we're gonna get in it. That's
right. But the last thing I do is a 3x3 challenge, man. One book that's shaping you right now, one film that's shaping you, and then one TV show or album.
Okay, one book,
one film, TV show or album.
I mean, I gotta shout out Dominion, by Addie Kitchens. Addie is a debut author, but I just feel like that's not fair to other debut authors to call Addie a debut author, because Addie been crafting for a minute. But Dominion is just like, it's got a different energy. It's got a different energy for a book rooted in Mississippi about church than I've ever read before. And Addie ain't scared, man. You know, you play football, you play basketball. When I play football, we used to go up to this motherfucker named Lee Ragsdale. I had me at fullback at the time. Bruh, I'm looking at that middle linebacker eyes, my nigga. I got to find this motherfucker. That's my job. No, sir. I'm gonna go fall down, because, you know, he ain't scared and I'm scared. Addie ain't scared, man. She ain't scared. So, Dominion, what was the second one? TV show?
Film. Movie.
Film. I mean, you know, I've been watching Sinners over and over again like everybody else, because it's on HBO. So much to say about that film. And actually I saw Superman the other day.
What you think about Superman? You enjoyed it?
I saw it at home, fam. So I didn't really, I mean, I didn't
you felt like I felt. You felt like I felt.
I think screenplays are hard, and I think when you're writing a screenplay, and then the studio is like, you have to put like 4 different characters who are gonna have their spinoffs in it. I'm just as a narrative person, I think the narrative can get kind of
Yep.
lost. But
Yeah.
that's the genre. So
Yeah. It was a fun experience, but I agree 100%.
yeah, man, I thought it could have been so much better if they didn't try to like set some shit up for the next joint. But
Mhm.
and then
TV show or album.
man,
Now,
I'm go ahead.
well, I did have another question that I forgot to ask, but it was about the Clips album. So if you
Talk
have
about
any,
that motherfucker if you want to, bro. Like that joint found me, man.
I'm gonna tell you.
That found me, man.
Listen. I feel like the Clips album is amazing. I think the Clips album is fodder for like so many things in terms of like a writer. One thing I've been thinking about is Malice and how he's been lauded is
Yeah,
someone who is in possession of all of the positive qualities of masculinity that sometimes get lopped into toxic masculinity,
right.
right? So, like when we're saying we appreciate how he might think, like, so for instance, there's one part this guy asks him, like, does he allow himself to have conversations with his wife before he makes a decision, like leaving the rap game, right? And he sits there and he's like, and they say, you don't have to answer if you don't want. He said, no, I'm just thinking about it.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Right. Like I've seen so many deacons do that. I've seen so many like men that like poured into me do that because they know the weight of their words.
right.
Right. Or his decision not to curse, right? Or like all these things that I've seen men do that they don't get claps for,
Yep.
right? That have sustained folks in order for them to say things like take all the podcast mics away from all the men, right?
Right, fam.
And so
Yeah,
what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing, and I'm like, yo, like this, he's in possession of all of the good things that we need to excavate from masculinity, right? And then say this is what we should be paying attention to. But when we do these things out in the wild, there are no claps for it. Or
right.
when we do try to make spaces for it where we can talk about it, where it's just like when Bell Hooks said, I think it's in The Will to Change that the everybody asks men to share their feelings, and if they say at 2:00 every man is going to start sharing their feelings at 2:00, they'll like shut the world down because they
Right,
don't really want to hear it.
right,
And so I think a lot about that
right.
when I think about that album, because these are things like, for instance, like Pusha T, taking care of your friends, not letting anyone bully the guy in your group who is seen as weak.
Yep.
These are things that gang members do every day.
It's real, bro.
I'm
Yeah,
here because the gangster disciples told the Bloods they weren't going to take my jacket in
yeah,
middle school,
yeah.
but no one claps for that. You know what I mean? So I think about that a lot. And I think about that in terms of how I want to mentor these boys that are coming up under me. Like, and so that album means a whole lot. It's like you have a self-determination. It makes me think a lot of the book I put it with, which is Guy Johnson's Standing at Discretion.
Yeah, yeah,
That those are like those are the things we're taught to be as a man. Take care of your family, et cetera, et cetera,
yeah.
right? And they've been so lost, they've been so destroyed. And I have my issues with some of them too,
Right,
right? Like put that because every man might not be able to take care of, and so if I don't have usefulness, why am I here is what can
exactly.
happen with that socialization.
Yep.
But I think a lot about that with that Clips album. It is doing a whole lot of work.
That's
It
heavy
is.
what you just said, though, fam. I want to make sure people get what you just said, right? Like, part of masculinity, for better or worse, happens to be like, if there is no usefulness for me as a man, what
Mm-hmm.
then am I, and what do I do? I just want to just reiterate what you said. Like that question, I think
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
is
Oh
rooted.
yeah.
It should be rooted in most of what we do. Man, that Clips album, man. I mean, and part of the stuff with Malice is so interesting. Is yes, and do people value Malice if Malice doesn't quote unquote disappear for however
Mm-hmm.
long? Because
Mm-hmm.
motherfuckers act like he wasn't writing. He wasn't. I thought Malice had the best verse on the last Pusha album. The
Mm-hmm.
one before where Kanye did half of the joint and Pharrell did. I thought, but part of that was also because I hadn't heard him um
Mm-hmm.
and also, man, it's just man, I just love that they're brothers, man. I just think about 52-year-old brothers
Yep.
who have to be competitive at rapping. Beyond like how they sound to us. No, Mal, I know Pusha loved that his brother is coming out getting his love, and I also know Pusha's kind of like, wait a minute though, like my verse on FICO was dope too, right? Right? Oh, I like that about him. I mean, that FICO song is it got me. That FICO joint, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got me through a lot the last month. So yeah, I guess I had to put that. That's the album I've been listening to a lot. But TV, man, I watch Sopranos like every night, like for the last
Yeah.
15 years, every night.
What?
It's only
Is it that good, or is it like that comforting kind of?
You know what? I can say this to you because I know you'll fuck with me. It's like I have insomnia. I literally, it's just I cannot sleep. It's hard for me to sleep. So, and part of it is because that's what my writing practice is for so long, and glow with a computer and all that kind of shit. But if I'm on sleep without a gummy helper,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be like listening to some art that I'll just say like I believe in. You know, like so Atlanta, but The Sopranos to me, because that shit to me when it came out was, I mean, it just broke my brain that could be on television. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I know Sopranos back and forth better, probably as well as I know, like, Paid in Full, the album. The albums I know back and forth. I know Sopranos shit back, nigga. I know that shit back and forth.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same problem, man. It's so funny. I don't go to sleep at all, and I have to have
Really?
something like. There has to be something like last night I played The Witcher. I'll have The Witcher on, like I'm playing The Witcher 3. I got bell hooks in my ears, right? And
Yes.
I'm playing this phone game that I got called Townville,
Yeah.
and like that'll put me to bed. Like when I
Right.
was little, my mom always talks about like they would put me in the bed and they'll come back out and I'll just be with they used to have this Robin Hood Nottingham Forest thing that came
Yeah.
out. And that would just be in the floor playing with it until 3 or 4 in the morning.
Wow, bro.
So it's always been my life. I just 4 is like my cutoff. I'll take 2 Benadryls to go to sleep if I can't. By 4 o'clock, I have to, like, work is coming in 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
I sometimes wonder when I see you, when you be like, I just hit this workout. I'd be like, did that nigga go to sleep? Sometime when you be like, yeah, in the morning workouts. Yeah.
No, sir. No, a lot of times it's the working out makes me tired. Like it's like I have to. I was reading Proverbs a while ago, and there's like this part in there about like a man who has earned his sleep. And I think like again to my point of like how we socialize men, to how we socialize men. Some men feel like they have not earned rest.
Right here.
And so I feel like if I have not like filled the day up like enough, then maybe that's what it is. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Proverbs are fun.
Right.
Proverbs Proverbs is where it's at though, dog. Like people need to get up in the Proverbs and let's talk about Proverbs.
My mama gave it to me. She was like, listen, she gave it to me almost in like a idea of if he reads this, I think he'll be okay.
My mama too.
She was
mama did the same thing. Same shit. Same thing.
You gotta read Proverbs. She was like, you gotta read it. She gave me the little rundown of who Solomon was. And a lot of times I think she was doing that. And I just was telling her in that same conversation about family that she was like, Uncle Percy, one of my uncles, she was like, he doesn't feel like he's loved in his family, etc. And I said, do you understand? Like, he's my foil character. Like you've always told me he's super intelligent, super smart, and he read Proverbs, and you gave me Proverbs, and you said read it so you can be like him, right? And so I understand exactly what he's feeling because I think it's the weight, it's his birthright. He's Mama Maddie's oldest son.
Yes.
I was like, so all he's thinking about is taking care of all of us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I said, because that's all I think about as your oldest son. I said, I am not only your oldest son, but I'm your largest child.
Yes.
I said, and that means a lot in Mississippi.
That means a lot in Mississippi, man. Tell it, bro.
Only am I your oldest child, but I am your largest child.
Tell it. Yeah.
Which means that I must carry everything.
Yeah,
Irregardless of anything that is. I said, what I think we have been doing, I said, we don't teach about that. And when it happens, it crush. It's either the family survives for another generation or it crushes.
Right.
So right now we're like in the thralls of the big crush. We in that Star Wars thing. Mama Maddie's gone. We in a Star Wars thing. You are the one to get us out. It's like what I was trying to convey to her. But yeah, that she gave me Proverbs and that idea of like, oh, you'll be well if you read that. Yeah. And so it's the same, man.
Man, you blessing us today, bro. Thank you for doing this, man.
Hey, I try. And thank
Sure.
y'all. This has been Lost in the Woods. I'm Jerid P. Woods. And here's the thing. Wandering matters. The straight road, the one they hand us, only ever leads us back to where they want us to be. But the woods hold stories, songs, lessons. Books and music are portals that let us find those lessons. So don't be afraid to wander. Don't be afraid to get lost, because out here in the woods, you don't just find the world, you find yourself, and you find your people when you find yourself. So until next time, keep reading, keep listening, keep wandering. Peace.
Peace. Thank you, bro.